Welcome everyone to Stop Losing, Start Trading. So this is the learning show we're doing to teach Rosalie how to trade options. Again, we're doing it all focused on Panoptic, but these ideas are definitely applicable to any protocols. We want to have more people look at options as a good way to invest, a good way to earn yield, but also a good way to be doing strategy you cannot do anywhere else. So, all right, welcome. First of all, how are you feeling today, Rosalie? You seem well dressed. Is it cold out there in New York?
Yeah, it's quite cold in New York. It snowed again recently, but it's all gone now. Yeah, I'm doing good. The market seems to be quite steady today. So yeah, I'm curious to see how my recent trades are doing. Curious also about some more meme coin strategies. And yeah, I'm excited to be here and
Yeah.
learn.
So we'll see. The only trade that I think could happen today is the ticker Bitcoin one. Harry Potter Baba Sonic 10 Inu. It had happened. And I know you're a big fan of that community, Rosalie. So
Yeah,
are you
I
excited? Yes.
Yeah, I'm very excited to finally do an option on Harry Potter Obama Sonic Inu 10. I should have worn my jacket, but
Oh yeah,
next
you have
time.
a very cool jacket that
Yeah,
is
my NFT jacket.
yes. It makes the envy of everyone that sees it. So all right, without further ado, I'll share my screen. We'll go over a few of the current market conditions. We always look at the price of ETH, and today's no different. As you say, it seems pretty quiet. So um, all prices have been subject to that big move, and it's been mostly stable. So Ethereum kind of a bit down on the day. Same thing with Solana. Bitcoin is holding a bit stronger, but overall, regardless of the market, oh, maybe something's happening now, but regardless of the market, there's a trade for it in options. The price going down could mean you make money if you have the right trade. The price going up as well, or the price staying kind of range bound. So very it may very choppy. It's good for a delta neutral options trade overall. Not very anything catastrophic, and we'll see with our trades everything went well. Bera, a newcomer that came out yesterday. So again, many launches did collapse, but it's been holding steady. Again, this is one of those that uh, it's EVM compatible. They have a good narrative behind them. Maybe we'll launch on Bera as well, but the goal is to kind of track better all of these new chains that are coming out. They will definitely, again, with the token launching, they will have interesting dynamics. They will pay attention to, and then same thing, and then we'll see how this plays out in terms of attracting liquidity, attracting volume. But yeah, Bera over the past after the initial drop stays pretty quick. Have you been farming or being exposed to the Bera token, Rosalie? Or on yeah,
Not yet, but I'm curious to get in. I think proof of liquidity is a really interesting concept, and Kodiak launched as well as Berachain, so I think there's going to be a lot happening there in terms of builders, and yeah, it's going to be really
yeah,
exciting.
Kodiak, very good. So again, concentrated liquidity, Panoptic works on any CLEMM. So as long as there's a way to concentrate and not use full range like UniV2, again, there's a path forward for integrating with that. So yeah, Kodiak is a great team. Uh, Again, one thing that I've been looking a bit more closely as well is the price of gas. Because again, we're on mainnet, we're doing maybe the hard route of trying to go where the liquidity is. That means that the gas can be high. A Gray Station is a very good resource, but we see I've seen this spike in life. Something happened over the past few hours. It's been quiet. The average is about 2 Gwei, which is actually surprisingly affordable. And it's again the scaling of the mainnet started again this week, where the gas limit, the gas limit of each block has increased a little bit. More trades can go in, so that might be again why we've seen 1.2 Gwei. This is kind of almost as easy as layer twos, but then now you can trade options. So this is pretty good. So again, prices are stable. Gas is doing its own thing, but it's actually very low compared to what it's been over the past few weeks. And overall, again, it's a good day to trade. So we'll go from the gas to the actual portfolio that we're tracking. So again, this is a trading. This is a informational show. Nothing here is financial advice. You should not follow any of what we say. This is just for us to discuss Panoptic, the way that you can trade options, more as an education than trade. It could be trade ideas, but nothing that we say here should be taken as advice, as financial advice. what we've been doing is that we discuss these trades. In turn, that Panoptic.eth decides to create some of these trades. We'll go over. We have three markets now. We will add a fourth one, which is the ticker Bitcoin. So, which one do you want to go first, or start looking first, Rosalie?
Yeah, I think let's start with either Colt or Bitcoin since the ETH one is still a little new.
Okay, so we'll do Bitcoin. This one has an open PNL of $10. So we'll go over the details. If you remember, you had this is trading the ratio, BTC to ETH. You had a bearish or neutral to bearish take on the ratio. We created a call spread, and the idea is that you limit your risk. But the key point is that the call that we were purchasing was out of range. So this is free. You cap your loss for free, and it's a pretty unique trade that is kind of unique as well in Panoptic. You can buy an option for free and sold liquidity relocated closer to in range. So yeah, maybe if you look at the interface, what do you see? What do you try to pay attention to when we go to these charts?
Yeah, definitely the profit and loss ratio. I'm also curious about premia, but overall, I think because the ratio is quite different, right? So I'm just like trying to understand exactly what it means to really trade something that are so different in price, right? So
Yes.
yeah.
And this is a lot of funds and a lot of OGs think in terms of Bitcoin prices. So could be ETH, could be even Solana, could be meme coins. They say, is it going up or down compared to Bitcoin? So here, this pool is also doing this, and yeah, the bearish sentiment you had was that ETH would underperform compared to Bitcoin. Bitcoin has a lot behind it. It has the ETFs, the options, MicroStrategy or Strategy Now. They all have a lot of inflow, and we could expect Bitcoin to outperform. So without this being a dig at ETH or Ethereum, is just given the sentiments. You can have directional bets, meaning may go down. You're just kind of providing liquidity in that pool. This is what we do. So yeah, it's been positive. You have profit and losses of 2.6% over the past 2 days, which is kind of pretty good. It does cap out. So if it reaches the top, you will make some Bitcoin, I guess, almost 1% of one Bitcoin in profit, which is really $1,000, which is not too bad. 0.1% of one Bitcoin. But overall, it's been going well. The premia, this is like the amount of fees you collect. You are net selling an option, you collect some fees. Here we can look at the premia over time. What you want to see is up to the right, which is you accumulate, you get paid for this. So overall, this is a monthly trade. You should only manage this every few weeks. It's been going well for us. Again, we started price here, the price went up, but you're making fees as well. So it's a good trade. It's worked for us. We can just keep it on. So that's a good trade.
Okay.
Next one is a cult one. If we go back to the origin story, you had some cult coin, you got burnt, you wanted to exit, but in a way that could make you a lot of money if it keeps going down. So we elected to buy a put option, which is again in this payoff, meaning that the price goes down. The more it goes down, the more money you make, and you have kind of a profit. If it leaves out in range, if it goes to zero, you straight up make again. I don't know. It's almost 0.1 ETH, about $300 out of that $50 worth of cult. So this could be a good trade. What do you see here? What do you notice?
Yeah, I think the price isn't moving as drastically as I expected. So yeah, I think it's still we can still hold on to it for a little bit longer. I think it's been a week now. So after maybe 2.5 weeks, if it's still negative, maybe it's time to close. But yeah, we can watch it.
Yeah, so I'm trying to bring the price here again. We will update this, but you were right directionally. So the price did go down. You started here and it went down by almost, I don't know, 20%. But yes, to really pay off, it has to go down by 30, 40, 50%. And the balance that you're buying an option. So the more it's moving in the right way, but maybe not as quickly, the more you pay. So you may have to take into account the amount of fees. So again, if you go back to the Premium tab here, you go down to the right. You pay more every block. But that's still fine. This is kind of a trade of last resort. You just want to get rid of it. You're currently paying about 11,000 cult in Premia and 0.007 ETH in Premia. But again, if it does go down, you can make a lot. So overall, also within the realm of having it open for a week, then there's not much more we can do. Finally, we'll go to the USDC one. This is the one we discussed on Wednesday. The thing want to see make 3 USDC. So it was small position, but the value of that position, meaning how much you control, is still quite large. I know, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so let's go to the position page first. This was a neutral trade. You had some kind of neutral. You thought it was range bound. You weren't sure if it was going to go that much down or not. But you said it's not going to go lower than 2200, maybe not higher than 3500. So the trade we constructed was selling and at the money straddle in the monthly expiry. So within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll know if it pays off. And if you look again, the mint price is that thin line. The current price is that dashed line. It's moved a little bit, but it's still pretty stable. There's a tiny sliver of green here. Make it bigger. This means that you're earning fees, and that's the only way you can make money here is on the fees. So you have $3 worth of fees. This position is about, I guess, $1,000. So in a day, I think this one was open less than a day ago. So it's also working for us. But yeah, anything that you want to see or kind of comment on that specific trade since it's been on for like a day?
Yeah, I mean, it does look like there's way more opportunity for loss than profit from this lens right
Yes.
now. So I don't know, getting a little anxious perhaps, but it is a monthly option, so it can always, go back in range.
Yeah, so this one was a bit more advanced. This is a selling naked option, a straddle. This is very much like LPing, which is providing liquidity. Now we make it so that we see the big red sectors, which is losses, tiny sliver of gain, which is green. So this is what LPs and folks that have been doing LPing have seen, been exposed to. So that is definitely one risk. The key point is that it's an early trade. It can only go higher if you're right, meaning that it's going to stay range bound. And again, it's a risky endeavor. The only way we were able to manage that risk was to limit how big that position was, not put all your eggs in one basket. Currently, the size of that position is 375 ETH, but there's actually the total amount that you control is twice as that. You have two legs, each one contains 3/8 of an ETH. So 0.75 ETH of capital has been in play. So $2,000, and this is the two legs. It just has to work for us, and it's been doing what it should be, which is staying range bound, and that's it. So that, as you say, first few days may be a bit more scary because there's no gain, but over time this will go up.
I think as well, like this morning when I was checking, the ETH price looked a lot different than when we were just looking at it. So yeah, it's always changing. So
yeah, and we can look at so it goes up or down, it stays in range. It's a monthly option. As long as it doesn't leave that quite large range, we're good. So, and then maybe one thing that is important is that this is an option that you have intern has sold. Someone could buy it, and if they buy that straddle or any of those legs, they would make more money as well. They would pay you more, you make more money. One thing that I want to point out as well is that in the called position that you created, you were a net buyer. You purchased a put option. And we can look at who's sold you that put option, if that makes sense. You can only buy something that has been sold before. So this is your position. This is going maybe on the interface, digging a bit deeper, but on the positions page, you see the P&L chart, you see some values here, you see the leg information, how long ago it was created. So one thing that you can do is to peek at other people in that trade, the same as yours. So you can click on that strike button here, and this is going to bring up, this is the put side on the right. This is the call side. So you are buying 0.145 ETH worth of that position. We can see who has sold this. So this other account, it's a blocky, but this account has sold what looks like a strangle at the mini straddle maybe. So we can click on that icon as well and see and spy on them. So what we see now, and this is where it might be less scary, but this person sold this 10 days ago, similar to your ETH position, and at the money straddle, that seemed to be kind of performing well because it's still in range. But now you have this huge or bigger sector. that is appearing, because every day that goes by, this is kind of the other position, they make money, and that contributes to that chart. So if you were to look at this one, is it more positive or negative in terms of uh, P&L outlook for you?
Positive, definitely. This person seems to have picked the best type of strategy for the in this case. What happens when they choose to close their position to mine?
Yes, and maybe the cult meme coin, it's a purely volatile asset. There is a community, of course, but then it's very volatile. So straddles and these type of trades are the best way to extract volatility. And in that case, they sold 1 million cult worth of straddles, and in your case, you have about like a fraction of that. So yeah, let me see. The way this works is that the line that you see here, which is the liquidity in that put, there's a chunk missing. So this is you purchasing. So they sold that top amount. Someone bought part of it. And what's left is this. So yes, they are selling it to you. And if you keep this position open on your side, they may not be able to close it. It's in range. They should be making money. Maybe that's the risk of maintaining it open, but they cannot close it because you purchased part of it. So that's maybe they want to take the combine the profit, but since it's still in range, even if it leaves the range, they're still in the green. So they don't have to close it, and because you purchase, they cannot close all of it. What they can do is, however, is to fill it up and sell just enough extra liquidity so that they sell an extra chunk, which is about the same size that you purchased, and then they close that whole part. And this is a reducing the size of that position. On the UI, if that person were to close that position, they would say, you cannot close it, someone has purchased it. However, you can reduce the size. And in that case, they would set an option that covers just enough to allow you to be still a purchaser and buying it, and you would close 90% of it if you think about that. So as a seller, of course, it's more risky, and even our ETH position could have a similar scenario. But as a seller, you have this risk of not being able to close, but on the interface, we allow people to reduce their position.
Okay, that makes sense. So I'll sell first.
Yes, selling is getting paid for it, and if you're wrong directionally, it's not too bad. You have some money getting paid. So again, this is highly volatile. This is the best outcome in 10 days. Again, 13% return on the fee in 10 days. You don't want to do the analyzed return, but it's still it's pretty juicy. But then we've been kind of lucky. It should be moving quite a bit more, but at the end of the day, this was a good trade. So you bank a large number of small wins to be able to shoulder the low number of big losses. So that's kind of the idea. So here, 14% in 10 days. I'd take this any day of the week as well. All right, so going back to the next trade. So we looked at our positions. There's nothing to panic about. Everything is looking good. Might be a good time to open a new position. And you mentioned the Bitcoin ticker Bitcoin as one possibility. So this is one of the pools that we kind of launched with the launch of Panoptic. This one has a little bit of liquidity, and that just enough for us to trade. It's no one else has created positions, but that's fine. But someone deposited about, I don't know, a few $100s worth of Bitcoin and ETH. So here, intern account will have to maybe buy some Bitcoin, buy some ETH. But then once they do, they can go in the trade account, and maybe the first question of any trade. So what's your sentiment about ticker Bitcoin with respect to ETH? Again, it's not the price in cash, but rather with respect to ETH. Would it outperform, underperform, grow at the same rate as ETH? What's your take?
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm extremely bullish on ticker Bitcoin, but in comparison to ETH, interesting. Okay, so now I have to really start thinking. I think, yeah, I expect ticker Bitcoin to go up at least maybe 30% within the month, and ETH probably
30x, let's say.
yeah, and ETH might bounce back up as well. So where would that put me?
Yeah, so it's always hard, and it's in ETH because of the pools on ETH. But I would say that again, we are bullish. Are we bullish meme coin or not? But again, I want to make it spicy. So let's do a bullish trade. As you see, maybe 30%. And the best trade you can do typically when you're bullish is to buy a call, which is that type of payoff where there's infinite profit potential. Forget about 30%. If it does 30x, then you can do like a 300, 400 times return on your initial investment. But the rest that you pay a lot, it's a very volatile asset. And no one has sold you that call before, so no one can buy it. So the next best strategy is selling a put option. And that put option has this type of payout, meaning that if the price goes down, you are buying ticker Bitcoin and you go down $1 per dollar that it goes down. If it goes up, you sell all of your Bitcoin to ETH or to the stablecoin or to the kind of numeraire, and you have cap payoff. But the interesting part is that you get paid for it. So we haven't done put options yet, and we can only do naked or we cannot buy options, so it has to be a naked put. We can size it so that you cannot lose or be liquidated, and that's kind of the best strategy. It's going to be a cash secured put, and that will tell you about the risk will be limited to what you put in, so no leverage, very straightforward. So we haven't done puts, and then I would say that the maybe I'll ask you what your intuition is, but there's a few different places you want to be in that line. You definitely want to be in range, so the red box has to be within, like the line has to be within that red box, but you can be barely here, or you can be way up there, and that is going to be how strongly bullish you are, and that's going to depend on your intuition. I would say that this one has the most upside potential because it is actually kind of gaining all the way up and only saturating when it goes about 60 or 70% up, whereas this one is maybe less upside, but you have more coverage. You're an opportunity to earn on the way down if there's choppiness. So are you extremely bullish, medium bullish, or neutral to bullish?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty bullish, but I do also, I don't want to lose too much money right away. So, okay, so you said we have to do naked, so we can't do a spread.
That's right.
Okay, so yeah, I think maybe something a little bit more like that. Yeah.
Okay. And this is also this looks good on paper, meaning that you have the chart in front of you, but there's a more kind of systematic way of gauging this trade. And maybe I'll try to zoom in, but there's a tiny number here called delta. And can you tell me what the delta is here?
29.
Yes. So 29 is the delta of that position. This is the slope. So again, mathematically, if you're way out here, the delta is 0. So it's a flat slope. If you're way out here, the delta is 1 or 100%. So 30 delta means that every dollar that it goes up, your position gains $0.3. And that's kind of the mathematical or graphical interpretation of delta. If it goes down by $1, you make 0.3. However, the much more powerful way of thinking about delta is that delta is the probability that you'll be wrong, if you want, on that trade. It's a probability that it's going to be in the money at the end of that expiry. So this is a monthly option. It's kind of wide, but the strike is right here where the line is. There's a 30% chance from kind of Black-Scholes and the mathematical models that you'll be below that line. And there's a 70% chance that you're going to be above that line. So if you're bullish, you have 70% chance of being right. If you're a bit more aggressive, here you have a is that correct? Yes. So here, if you're bullish, delta is 0.9. There's a 90% chance you're wrong, meaning this price is going to be lower. Math or the traders or the the models could be wrong, but the delta tells you that this type of trade has a 10% chance of paying off and a 90% chance of losing. But you get paid more technically because you take more risk. So the
I like the 30%.
Yes, and that is
Something
typically also
wrong. Yeah.
25 to 30% is the region you want to be in. You want to have at least 50% and more success rate, and 60% is pretty good. And then 70% even is 30 delta. So 70% is pretty good. You'll be right 7 times, wrong 3 times, but that's kind of a good place to be at. You don't want to be overextending yourself. You want to be, if you do one, or at least if you change the do 5 delta, it's going to be very boring, and in all likelihood you won't earn anything. So 30 delta is a great play. This is bullish because it's going to earn you fees on the way up and also earn you uh, ETH, I guess, or at least going to earn you, like, make you profit on the price move of Bitcoin. So yeah, for the intern, I would say, given what we discussed, a 30 delta put in the Bitcoin wrap ETH pair is a very good way to be expressing your directional assumption on Harry Potter, Sun 10 Shiba. I'm messing this up, but yes.
Yeah, I think, I guess what I would be maybe more interested in then, given this complex ratio, would be a Bitcoin USDC pool, probably,
Yeah.
since I'm very bullish on Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic Inu 10, and ETH kind of makes me feel a little bit more anxious being
Yeah, so
thrown in there.
it's a different trade, and if we look at the price chart, it's ultimately kind of what matters. Oops, it's been going down a little
It
bit.
has been, yeah,
Maybe it's
but
due for
will go back up.
recovery.
Exactly.
Like we have these upward moves, so the past is not. So this is a pretty good trade. I don't think there's a Bitcoin USDC pair on Uniswap. Maybe there will be, but for now, this is what we work with. So, all right, very good. So I'll actually gonna post. This is a trade that those that have been following can actually see it. So I don't know if I can post on YouTube. This looks like it works also on the channel, so someone can post this. So if you want to try it out, you can click on this. We're from the US, you cannot trade it, but maybe Panoptic Intern has a secret account offshore, so they can do some of that trading. So go have a
Sounds
look.
good. Yeah, I'm curious.
All right, so this is good. So today is a kind of regular trading show. We'll try to cap it at about 30 minutes. I don't know if there's any other questions on Twitter, but for now there was one that was related to, which is some people may be interested in trading yearly options. So yearly options are in TradFi, they're called leaps. It's a very good way for retail to be exposed to leverage, because you also have a smaller cost initially and more potential upside. Those that bought Nvidia leaps a year and a half ago had a lot of upside, and they could maybe have spent maybe $5,000, but they control like a few hundred shares, and they can make a lot more. So the leaps or the yearly option is definitely something that anyone can trade if you sell. But yes, the way that we do this is that we default to being the monthly option currently. Oh yeah, I'm maybe we'll allow the yearly to be opened up, but typically when you go on the interface, maybe I should use the real one. Oh yes, and I'll cover this, and I'll cover the the pips last. But yes, if you trade here, um, you're able to get to the time scale. It's either weekly or monthly. We will likely open up the yearly. So the yearly is quite wide. It's a year trade, so the price moves are pretty large. But if you say, I think the price is going to be above 1,300 and below 6,000, or even if it goes above 6,000, you'll earn a lot of fees. You can trade now that yearly option. Now it's hidden under advanced mode. We'll try to remove this so that at least weekly, monthly, and yearly are present by default. But yeah, you can sell a covered call, which has this type of payoff, or cash you could put on ETH BTC, or any pair with that super wide timescale. This will likely pay off after a year ish or a few months. Or you can also be bearish if you think it's going to go down and say, I don't think it's going to go above 4,000. Me go down as low as 1,000, can still trade. So yes, yearly option on the interface will, be unlocked this week. It's actually something that people can trade. All right. So finally, one last thing that we want to talk about is the point system. this has been released as of 2 days ago. We pushed the final update to show the points for sellers and buyers, not just holders. We've had a ton of deposits. Some people that are on the top are mostly selling options, and this is a good way to earn a lot of points or pips. Selling is proportional to the amount of fees you collect, so the more in the money or in range you are, the more fees. So some of those are acting like market makers almost, and they got a good allocation. Some other people maybe just depositing and be kind of maybe on the more passive side, but they get a lot of returns as well. I was looking, so the intern account is likely going to dig into the sell side quite a bit. Their rank is 84. Some of it comes from the deposit, but also some of it comes from their fees. Maybe we'll do a competition. There's intern.panoptic.eth at rank 84. But if you look for intern, also Ethereum intern, aha, this one is ranked 44. So maybe there's going to be a race between the Panoptic and Ethereum intern. But both of those are likely selling some options, depositing fees, earning points along the way. We described the system in quite detail in the document, but that's something also that you can try to ask questions about. What's the best way to maximize points? If you look carefully, there's a boosted pip versus base pip. So the way this works, that if you've been in the crypto space for a while, you'll likely have I clicked on it. You'll likely have a boost for your activities either in Uniswap v2 or v3 or even during the beta. So that person was earning 9.7 million pips, but they have a boost of an extra 400k of extra pips. So that's also something. If you have wallets that have been interacting with UniV2, UniV3, or the beta, you'll have a boost. So a lot of those are felt precisely at the lower end of the scale. So like this person, for instance, 77 pips, but then they were probably ticking all the boxes and got a lot more. So this is also meant to favor the smaller size traders. So
Very interesting.
Very interesting. Again, we've learned a lot from the teams at Hyperliquid and some of the more successful airdrops. We want the points to be active and dynamic, but then also kind of not perpetual. And then there's going to be a timeline. We've described like a fixed allocation, and when this runs out, it runs out. So that's as we open more markets, this is going to get also distributed more quickly. So again, as a listener or a trader, look into the program, deposit some funds if you want to be passive, or if you want to maximize your returns. Also do some selling. Could be a yearly call, and you have kind of a long-term, low-risk type of trade. So
I would love to see a trading competition between ETH intern and Panoptic intern.
it's on. I'm not sure if ETH intern knows, but he's on our crosshairs. So
he's winning. So
again, we can look. Yeah, he's been around I think for longer, so we can click on that row and spy on them. And you're in spectator mode. This person, they sold the put option. This is a good trade. They had some amount, $300, which is not much, but because they were selling, they got a lot of points, and the stream accumulated is meant that they learn a lot. Their P&L is only losing $3, so regardless of the movement, it's actually a wash and a good trade. This was open a long time ago, so it's still not quite profitable, but not losing. But yes, Ethereum intern also. Maybe we'll have him on or them on, and then he or she can describe their strategy. But they were in a bad place. They sold here, went back. Beauty is that they're earning fees continuously, so they are going back into the being profitable business very soon. Wishing them the best of luck. All right, so I think that's it for now. Again, we won't go too long. This is great. Again, thanks for asking the questions. Feel free to again join our Discord. Post questions live or on Discord if you want to, and then we'll be more than happy to answer them. So you will do another trade. Last weekend was wild. We'll see how it fares, but we'll do another trade show Monday. So what do you think is going to happen over the weekend?
Oh, you never know. Hopefully nothing too drastic, but yeah, I can't wait to check in on Monday. It looked like something drastic was already happening. Maybe it'll cool down.
There's always
the end of today, but
the world is always ending, but it only happens once. So unless it's really the end, there's always a way to manage this. And this is the thing with options. You may not have to react immediately. You can have offsetting trades. You can just reposition. If you manage your risk well, you won't be liquidated ever, or if so, it's going to be limited because there are ways to kind of manage risk. So what we're doing here is trying to communicate this and teach everyone here in the Rosalie as well how to do it. So, all right. So this is it. Thanks everyone for joining.